Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. The funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Am I the a-hole for saying I find my sister asking me to be a sperm donor for her and her wife creepy? Posted by electricalhandle21. I have one sibling, my sister, who is married to a woman. My sister and her want to have a kid, and since getting approved for adoption can be tough, they want to try IUI with a sperm donor. My sister has PCOS, a fertility issue, and her wife has no brothers, so they asked me to supply the sperm to implant in her wife. They said it'd be all above board, with lawyers and everything, so I'd have no obligations. It would just be like my niece/nephew. The whole situation makes me incredibly uncomfortable, and honestly, it creeps me out that they would even ask. I don't know if I even want kids, but if I do, I'm not so sure a future wife would be cool with me already having a biological child, and neither am I. I responded no and said I was uncomfortable. They've asked me to reconsider several times, and the last time I straight up told her the answer is no, and that I find it very creepy. Her wife then tried to call, but I hung up and blocked her number. I haven't blocked my sister, but I'm not picking up her calls, and her last text called me an a-hole, among other things. I guess she wants your sperm, so they're both biologically related to the child, but they're not entitled to your splooshies. It's fine for them to ask, once. When you said no, that should have been that. They're the a-holes for not dropping it when he said no the first time. My partner threw away my grandma's secret recipe, and I can't forgive her. Our next story comes from the Relationship Advice subreddit, posted by a throwaway account. My partner and I have been living together for 3 years now, and everything's been great until recently. Sadly, my grandmother passed away a few years ago, and before she did, she gave me her family recipe book. This book was filled with the family's secret recipes that she trusted me with. I love cooking and absolutely loved my grandmother's meals, so this book means a lot to me. The other day, I was looking for a recipe in the book to make one of my grandmother's special meals, but to my surprise, the page with the recipe was gone. I searched everywhere and found out that my partner had thrown it away, thinking the recipe was wrong. She said she didn't know the recipe book was from my grandma and assumed it was just some old notebook or whatever. I was really upset she didn't ask before throwing away something that meant so much to me. It wasn't just a recipe. It was a piece of my family's history. I tried to explain how important it was, but she didn't care and said I could find another recipe online and that I'm overreacting. I'm struggling to move forward from this. Her being so dismissive of my feelings upsets me. I've never seen her behave this way before. How can I move past this? While you should always ask before throwing out someone else's stuff, mistakes happen. But that being said, after finding out how sentimental and important it was to you, it's such a red flag that she still doesn't care. Edit. Thank you all for the comments. They were really helpful, especially since I'd started to think I was overreacting, so I appreciate the reassurance. She threw away a rum cake recipe. I have no idea why. She liked it when she tasted it, so the recipe wasn't wrong, as she claims. I'm so sad and confused. I don't understand why she'd want to hurt me like this. Everything was going well between us, and we haven't argued in weeks, so I'm not sure why she'd want to take revenge on me. Update. Since my last post, I talked to my partner about what happened. It turns out she threw away the recipe, not because she thought it was wrong, but because she was jealous of my cooking skills. At first, she denied any bad intentions and tried to downplay the importance of the recipe book. But as we talked more, she finally admitted feeling jealous and insecure. It was surprising because I've never seen this side of her before. She said she's always been a little insecure about her own cooking skills. I had no idea. She feels like I outshine her in the kitchen. Her words. Especially after receiving all of the compliments from her family last time we hung out. So, in a fit of jealousy, she decided to throw away the recipe, thinking it would somehow even the score. Needless to say, I was hurt and disappointed. I couldn't understand why she would let her jealousy get the best of her and intentionally hurt me. We've always supported and uplifted each other in our relationship, so this behaviour was completely out of character. She apologised and promised to work on her insecurities and jealousy, but honestly, I don't think I can forgive her and move on from this. Once again, I want to say thank you all for your support and advice. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my parents rename me? Posted by NovelBox3156. My parents gave my sister, brother and me nature names, and more specifically, water nature names. My sister is Ocean, 16 female, I'm Cove, 15 male, and my brother is River, 13 male. They wanted our names to have a theme without being matchy with the same initial, so we got our names. The story was told to us when we were little, and my parents were proud of the names they gave us. Back when we were all stuck at home, my parents started to express regret about their choices for us. They actually told us over dinner one night that they wished they'd given us better names, and apologised for making us live with the names we were given. A few months after that apology, my mum and dad told us they wanted us to be Elizabeth, my sister, James, me, and Michael, my brother. They said since we were kids and weren't in college yet and nobody had their license at that point, it would be the best time to do it. All three of us said we didn't want to change our first names. My dad looked into whether they could do it even though we said no, and all the answers he got pointed to a very strong no. But it was also unusual to change your older kids' first names, so they went ahead and tried anyway. But once we were asked if we wanted different names, they were told no. My parents brought it up to us a lot afterwards. My brother asked why they wanted to name him Michael and said the name sucked. They told him Michael was a timeless name that would age well and gave him some nickname choices. He hated it. So they asked if he would consider Charles instead, which he said was an even bigger no. Our parents focused really hard on him for a while because he had asked a question about the name, so they figured he was the most open. So far, none of us have agreed to the name change. I told my parents that I know they regret the names, but we're all used to them and like our names and don't want to go for a more boring common name. My parents argued that in the future we'll regret it and we'd have to pay for it ourselves when we're adults, and we'd realise having weird names does not age well. I asked why they can't just let us get there if we ever do. They said we should be thinking more about our futures, and they accused me of having a really bad attitude because I said James was as bad to me as Cove is to them now. They told me to look online, and I did, and I saw a lot of hate for our names. But I told them it still didn't change my mind. My parents said we should respect them enough as parents to allow this, and that we're all being disrespectful. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for calling my wife out for violating the boundaries of our relationship? Posted by a throwaway account. For context, my wife is bisexual and has a way higher libido than I do. Even before we got married, we figured out that I could never fully satisfy her, and as such, we've always accommodated so that both of us could feel happy and satisfied in the relationship. We decided to have an open marriage, meaning that my wife will hook up with dudes she meets on dating apps, provided she informs me whenever she does so, mostly for safety reasons. This is all fine with me. We have, however, set up some other rules for these encounters. Firstly, these people shouldn't be considered boyfriends as they're there to satisfy her sexually. Neither of us feel we're in the position to enter a polyamorous relationship, especially considering we have an 18-month-old child. Relating to this point, we decided it'd be best to not bring these men into our house. Yesterday, I came home from work after picking our daughter up from daycare, and I could hear my wife having sex in our bedroom. This instantly made me uneasy since we'd set up the rules for a reason, and this was a clear violation of them. I let them finish. You let them finish? I let them finish and waited until he made his way out to confront my wife. She instantly got defensive and said I was suffocating her, and claimed there was no real difference between hooking up here and elsewhere, and made the argument that booking a hotel, which she sometimes has to do, is a waste of money when we have a perfectly good house of our own. I said that I didn't feel comfortable having strange men in our house and that my feelings should also be taken into account. Then, for some reason, she started talking about the fact that I'm circumcised and that's the reason I couldn't satisfy her, when this has never been an issue in the past. This spiraled into a huge argument, after which she suggested a divorce. I said I was stupid and that if she couldn't handle not having sex with people other than me, then maybe we should consider a divorce. She then stormed out and slept the night at her parents' house. I know I made some dumb comments, but I don't feel like I'm in the wrong for calling her out. She clearly violated the rules that we specifically set up to avoid situations like this. She's now seriously threatening me with a divorce though, so maybe I did step over a line somewhere? Am I the a-hole? Are you kidding me? You let her sleep around and she says you're suffocating her? What the F? Do you really want to stay married to her? It's totally fine to have an open marriage, but you still need to respect your partner and their boundaries. You guys agreed a line she wouldn't cross was bringing men into your home. She crossed that line. I wouldn't trust her to use protection and not bring something else home too. Am I the a-hole for fighting with my wife because she opened my birthday present without permission and continues to use it? Posted by Poetry Code. It's been a tough 2023. For context, I recently moved to a new country to be with my wife and celebrated my first ever birthday away from friends and family. My wife travels a lot. I still don't have a job here and I don't speak the local language fluently, so that makes things harder. It was my birthday last week and my parents were insistent about gifting me something nice. I'm normally not huge on celebrating my birthday, but told them I could use a new pair of AirPods after they asked me a couple of times. Because they're in a different country and not super tech savvy, they just transferred the money to my bank so I could buy them. Around the same time, my wife was going to the US for a work trip. I asked her if I could order the AirPods from Amazon to a US address because they were significantly cheaper there, and she agreed. A couple of days later, we were on a video call. She's in the US by now, and I noticed that she was wearing AirPods during our call. Now, she used to have her own pair of AirPods, which she lost somewhere, but it's been a while since she used them. I asked her if this was my birthday gift, to which she nonchalantly said yes. I normally wouldn't mind had it been a t-shirt or some other thing, but she knows how much I love technology and love unboxing and tinkering with gadgets. As stupid as it may sound for a grown adult, this is also my first pair of AirPods, and it's one of the few things I've been really hyped up about. No, you don't sound stupid. She stole your unboxing experience. I'd be mad too. So, I kind of flipped out in the moment. She said she only opened them to test them, just in case there was an issue and they need to be returned. I asked her why she didn't ask me, or at the very least, unbox it with me on a video call. She said it just didn't occur to her. She's still on a work trip. She returns home this weekend after 2 weeks, but she's been using my AirPods on and off for the last 10 days, despite the whole conversation. I know that I'll get them as soon as she's back. She also apologized last week and said that she'd make it up to me, but I can't help but feel irritated. It just doesn't feel like a birthday gift anymore, and I'm just not excited anymore. I was even considering asking her to keep this pair, because she doesn't have one, and buy me a new one instead. Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, they're basically hers now anyway. Am I being an a-hole or overreacting in this situation? Edit. I want to add that my wife has also been going through a super stressful time at work lately and has been extremely supportive and a kind partner in general. Classic Reddit. Calm down, people. This isn't exactly divorce territory. Remember, I post new content every day, so subscribe for more juicy tea.